Yeah. So they don't pitch it. It's like the day.
Did you breathe? Did you breathe? Thank you.
Those people can, I don't know, maybe, pretty good sale. But that's like,
I don't. I can wait back. Oh, really? I haven't. Thank you. How are you?
Doing okay. About yourself.
I can't complain.
No algae, no lily, nothing like that. You have to do that thing.
I'm thinking last thing you're saying back. That's enough. I don't know what's in it, you know, maybe I don't want to know what's in it.
They were poetry slave, early slave, and other stuff. Yeah, what happened? They didn't really get it. Those thieves in on you know, or you know, you had it.
Well, I'll tell you what, they killed them, all the way to the roof.
They got a giant roof.
He get over there and drag off. As we're getting over the, oh. Walking in, that a little bit. Yeah, it's a function. Right. Why aren't you ready? Okay. That's all me. Well, what is it? To the cause. Thing. Thank
you, Mr. President. We'll start the meeting with the roll call. President John Hendricks. Present. Vice President Ron Folk. Present. Councilperson Bobby Oswald. And the agendas have been submitted, the minutes were distributed. I can't think of anything that's super urgent, so Mr. President, I'll hand it back to you. All right, thank you. Yes, I had a chance to look over our regular facility meetings. April. And I'll make a motion to approve, I'll second, all those in favor? Any opposed? Jeremy? One.
We had had several main repairs this month, still working with insurance and big contractors to the pricing for the wind tower. We have not refilled it, just kind of waiting to get working on. Samples will be taken next week. Several new services are still on the list to be done. Working with a couple of different engineering firms on possible expansion near Lake Brewer Apartments. They're interested in water to the apartments there on Hagerstown, they have purchased property between that and the belong. They're looking to develop that field, and there's several other contractors that are trying to get in that same. That's all I have for water. We have had no issues with the sanitary sewer this month. Stormwater progress continues on Baker Street. We do have two payouts before you want and two. Those will need signed and paid. We are still working on installing culverts at Advantage Auto as time allows. Was discussing the supply pipe or allow the town to continue to dump stuff over there. Wiley's hope to install the new culvert at Julius this Friday. We spoke today and I said on the standing water. There's still a small puddle, pond, whatever you want to call it out there. Him and I spoke, we all agree that's not supposed to be a long done, so in the end, we won't be done until that is gone, just make sure that. We also talked about grade for the future pipe, I think when time and money allows, it will work on getting pipe through there. So once we get a grade, it should be fine, it should work out, there's plenty of flexibility between that pipe. So in the future, we will be able to connect it up. Also, since Bailey is open, we have had a request to close the wraparound that goes from South 18 to Baker, while Baker and Park is closed. Construction equipment can still use this, but we've got a request from the property owners to close that for the time being until Baker is paid. That is all that I have for stormwater.
Yeah, so. I had talked to Aaron earlier today about that pass-through. The property owner there was gracious enough to allow us to use that while that intersection was closed. And I don't want to essentially wear out a welcome. So I had asked Aaron today that we go ahead and no longer allow public traffic to use that since on the street back. So, yeah, I do appreciate property and compliance. Use that. If there's any traffic, obviously still allowing to use it. I did very sure that when we were completed. If we need to put any more off, we should be a block there to back it up.
Not going to reach out to homeowners that aren't here tomorrow to let them know that it's not open to public right now. Okay.
Any public comments on water, sewer, or swimming?
Month of April, it took 165,800 gallons. The next day was April 1,020,000 gallons. Minimum day was April 29th at 694,900 gallons, bringing the monthly daily average to 758,527 gallons. That's all I have.
All right. No other public comment for utility? Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the path and someone approval.
They were hoping to have the month previous pay, I think it was like, so probably two. No, there are two, we got two. Yeah. They have one, they have two, I don't remember the total on, I believe it was, I mean, one or four. Yes.
Public comment. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. It's all, it's paper like in there. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get them. Yeah.
Wayne, did you write anything up for the state project?
I did, but I know.
You have the amount?
Trying to get it. Open. It was. Open up. I'll do this.
I got it. All right, for the town, we're hoping to be more patching in a couple of weeks. Main Street, we're kind of iffy on because the water department is go through next year. We'll tear it all up, and we're gonna be following over the town, and otherwise, we're gonna work on basically shortly. But we're hoping to do that. Grant and I are gonna kind of look at some hot options to see if that's a feasible option. Right now, we're gonna wall that valley, get the asphalt, we're gonna do a few holes before we go. So we talked around about the line hot. We used to borrow one from town years ago. That's kind of fallen through the cracks, so we don't have that building. Or if it's round, it's really all right, and there is the state, all the people about it. It's not about working back.
So the real estate project we talked about, obviously, it's where that, something we just had taken up here, like, it's gonna get pushed off, but they are moving forward with the project, just east of Paper Town. All over them, put it through there. But the state got back, water did not qualify for the state to pay anyone on the water pay. But the sewer did, so they paid for the percentage. We had to pay for the our percentage on the sewer was roughly $58,000. So I had spoken to we are good as far as the media for that project. Sewer operating. We just need to make sure that we put that money back. And we do that. So if you guys are okay with it. Going in, one of the we essentially walk out the so our recommendation would be to operate to that. Which it's only 35,000 to 61 for the food. So no nothing to cover. The other thing we need to cover. More along then, drop on my head before we need to go with the other thing. Granted, more than what we had to do on sewer, but the state. Our finances were much better on the water side, so we didn't allow us to the state didn't pay for that. But that one is also a lead. We were looking that one in the water, part of our one of the present project. Yeah, we're gonna be for. Are you guys okay with that? Making sure that if we hold this one, we get that. I'm fine with it. One, then issue that. One other thing I want to add, Jeremy, so I need to, start packing. And make sure it's sent to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, it's not like public, it's like the one, or not second, so it's.
Basically, like that. Soon you come out.
Oh, yeah.
Make that left, that's fine.
All right. April is probably our busiest month so far this year. We had a pretty good month. Had 145 calls for service, only 17 calls for assistance. And we're still at about an 81% rate for where our calls are remaining for the town, not for other agencies. Had about 5 incident reports, 2 arrests, wrote 37 citations. I believe we did have a blitz for Operation Pullover through that state funded an overtime grant. Wrote 23 warnings that were written, that's not including verbal. Wrote 11 ordinance violations, not including ordinance warnings. 4 vehicles were impounded. There was no contraband seized. We had only 1 OWI. For the vehicles, your mileage was on the paper that you guys have in front of you. I'm not going to go through each mile per mile. We are going to implement a new badge. So with saying that, we are running low on badges and we kind of just bought one at a time and those get pricey. We're going to keep the same shield, but we're going to use the old traditional 5-point star as the original badge. So we're going to incorporate the new style with the old style. I think it looks really nice. I'm going to order that out of our ordinance debit card that we use for our ordinances, so that won't touch any of our appropriated budget. Training is up to date. I did create an ordinance tracker, an Excel sheet, and me and Jeremy has partnered together. And we're going to create a little system so that way, if he sees something fit for an ordinance, he can issue it. That way we can kind of keep it organized, and that way we can actually streamline the process and actually go after potential violations if they don't want to comply with us on a simple basis, more or less, if we had to get the attorneys involved or anything like that. The biggest thing I want to bring up, so the fire district has approved John to get a new vehicle to the fire district for him. Now he's using the 2020 Explorer that is with us, and that is our vehicle. He uses that as a dual purpose. I thought about it after a little bit and I looked at the future, and I'm trying to look at a couple years ahead, up to 5 to 6 years ahead. 3, 4, 5 years ahead, but with the amount of miles that we're putting on the 2022 Explorer right now, we'll be right around about 120, 130,000 miles. With saying that, that means in about 2 to 3 years towards the end of your guys' cycle, I'd be asking for potential purchase of the brand new vehicle. That could be $75,000 by the point this price will keep going up. I explored the idea of looking at trading the 2020 Explorer to see what we can get out of it, just to see if it's even worth the idea, or to see what was even available on that offer. I didn't know what to expect with the vehicle because it's a 6-year-old vehicle, has over 130,000 miles on it, so I wasn't expecting much. I found a dealership in LaPorte, Indiana. It's a police dealership. It's also a Dodge dealership. They offered $8,000 trade-in for the 2020 Explorer, and they allowed us to keep all the emergency equipment out of it, which is most of the equipment's only less than 3 years old. We're saying that they have a 2023 Dodge Durango that's 33,000 miles on it, clean title, no wrecks, no damage, or anything like that. With saying that, afterward, the cost would be $17,000 for the Durango, and that's with the trade value. And of course, we'd have a tax exemption. For the emergency equipment side, almost all the equipment out of the 2020 Explorer, which John's in currently, could be merged over to the Durango, except for the visor lights and the rear visor lights. Although I've already worked out with the chief deputy and the sheriff in Clay, where they just got rid of all their Durangos, that they have a lot of spare equipment, and I can get it to either donate it or mix it up in my cost, but they just have extras. So that would be the only cost where we'd have to purchase outright. So I have 2 quotes on just the outfitting itself using the equipment that we will provide. One quote, which is quote number 1, that is through the actual dealerships itself that has the Durango. They do outfitting there as well. That also could be added to the same invoice, maybe a little pros to keep everything in one. That was $4,000. And then for the second quote, which is the company that's kind of up and rising, Clay County uses it. I know John, I believe, is going to be using it for fire district possibly. They were $5,000. Again, like I said, the equipment would be all coming out of the 2020 Explorer, and then including some donation of equipment, or potentially have to buy some out of Clay County. I need to work out the details of that, but it'd be next to nothing compared to buying new. The idea is my 2025 Ford Explorer that I got a year ago now would go to Paul, who's a full-time guy. It has less than 9,000 miles on it. The 2022 Explorer that he's in right now is approaching almost 80,000 miles as is. That would go to pool, we call it more or less, or it would open the door potentially down for future growth, where if we added another reserve or potential pay position in the future, where we don't have to worry about getting another vehicle. That would answer that question. And then John, of course, would have his new Explorer. He's getting to the fire district. That will be programmed to be used as a dual purpose car, as he's doing now. Kind of explore some kind of benefits of if we like to potentially look at this idea. The 2022 year to serve would be increased. Right now, Paul's putting anywhere from 9,000 to 12,000 miles on his car. If we keep that for another couple of years until we have the 25 paid off, because I think we have now going on 3 years left on it. We'd be looking, like I said, we'd be right back in the same position to where in 3 years I'd be asking for a brand new vehicle again to replace this. Also, it would be less frequent driving, and be mileage savings. So with saying that, because that car would be a part-time car when I do take home car, so the mileage would be explicitly different. So we'd be a lot more years of service out of that vehicle will happen to have to replace it. 2025 would go to the full-time spot, which again, that car could be last for 8 to 10 years at that point, based on the mileage usage of the full-time position. 2023 Dodge Durango, if it went to me, which it would go to me, I use less miles because I work less hours. So I average anywhere from 5,500 to 7,500 miles a year. At that point, like I said, it still would last us at least 6 to 8 years, and that's the minimum side. The fleet shall serve the department for 6 to 8 years if we went through with this idea, where our vehicles will not be concerned unless knock on wood, something catastrophic happens or an accident happens, something like that. The value offered for the 2024 Explorer, it's highly competitive offer. Actually, it's considerably a high offer, and it was higher than what I even expected to get out of it, especially since they're allowing us to keep all the emergency equipment out of it. They initially, they offered 8,000 just for the entire car itself, but I got it worked out to where they're allowing us to keep or use any of the equipment that's inside of it, because they said that they don't need the equipment and it was unvaluable to them. We'd be only updating the fleet for possibly a maximum $21,000. And then also, like I said, again, it allows the future for a fourth position, whether that's a reserve or paid position, and department growth throughout the years since the town has grown. Last thing I have to add to that is kind of the 5-year outlook. So if you look at a 5-year outlook for the 2025, which would be going to Paul, and the amount of mileage he uses, if you go on the max end of that range I gave in a 5-year period, the 2025 would have on sub 60,000 miles. The 23 Durango would have sub 75,000 miles, and the 2022 would have sub 105,000 miles. So we would be in a very good position, even in 5 to 6, 7 years. So, if you have any questions, I'm love answering.
With the 2022 Ford that John has now, he's going to be.
He has a 2020. Paul has a 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with this, so you're saying if we purchase this new Durango, your, let's just say destination, that it will be good for them on the 2 cities.
At least, yeah. That's why I put the 5-year outlook, because I took the average mileage that Paul drives and I drive. Can't really use you just because you've only been on for a short period of time, you use it for the fire side, but I can use it for at least us. So for again, I usually work from 5,500 to 7,500 miles. This depends, training, how frequent, how busy we are, etc. Paul works, like I said, 32 hours a week, but we work project as well. So I have said he works 8 to 10,000 miles for him. So when I did that 5-year outlook, I actually maxed out those ranges and that idea of what we could potentially use that year. That's the maximum. So it could be even lower mileage than that.
About if we possibly did move forward with purchasing the Durango, you know, we thought it was kind of fun. Wayne suggested using a credit card, which I know we obviously have a feeling of that, but we were going to do 50,000 for I'm not necessarily changing my mind about that, but Wayne, I did not check on this. I did check on it once today, but I did not check. We no longer get distribution for our legal base, right? I did not check. If you guys decide to move forward with it, that would be my suggestion. Only because may be some things that come up in the next few months that you might want to look at as benefit. That would be very beneficial to the family. But it can be between like between off the car. When you're updating, you have to just about close up. Unless they did anything else. You may have had time to do it. I would love to look at the bag on why I don't really necessarily want to be that way, but until I have more details. I will get a lot of conversation in that, so.
And I keep in mind, there is a what kind of being used, any individual purpose. It's kind of an unusual bit of that. So you might look at if there's something else that is ridiculous, that needs to be used for a certain purpose, then you use that for it.
Tamara, is there anything that comes to your mind as far as restricted funds?
I don't know if you have any law enforcement funds. But I mean, those that they use for law enforcement. Riverboat is number. That's what I'm thinking.
This is. And then problem with
I'm living with my mother to verify that they found something to deal with this.
Well, okay, you know, we use that, you know, essentially. But like King was saying, and restricted funds that can only be paid by a party for them to get it off it and get it.
When I make investments in careers, with you guys determine which account comes out of.
One. The other you choose. John Bobby made a motion to approve. The purchase of. God, doing
And to have it out.
on the outfit. So.
Can I speak up to the Alpine with one thing? So the quote number one, that is through report Dodge Chrysler. That's who that is. That's who the dealership that has the Dodge. They can add in the same invoice, so they don't have two separate bills. They can add it all together when they purchase the vehicle. They are the cheaper invoice as well. So I know, I understand. And I understand. They offer the same. They're offering the same kind of outfitting. It's just like I said. It's just one will be $1,000 cheaper, and that's also the same dealership. They're going to put it in the same invoice, so it's just one lump sum altogether. So I will add that in there. I have no problem with the second quote. He builds the cars in clay. He does a really good job. And it's just like I said. It's just this quote came in cheaper. And his turnaround time after that is too. Turnaround time for the dealership was 2 to 3 weeks on the road, ready to go. The other one, he would have to order equipment and it could be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. So.
So Bobby's motion would be to approve the purchase by the Dodge Renegade. Trading in 2024 for $8,000 to the Ford Dodge, which would bring the grand total of the Dodge Renegade $17,000. And then additionally, include the quote $4,000, $245.
You guys can answer. Whatever.
John second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Just get ready.
Thank you.
No. Chairman, do you have anything?
I did skip on, had no issues, I did not wipe off the feed on the part. I've also got no response from the city on it, it's saying that the water conservation. I'm gonna reach out to some of the unit, to the local, I believe, figure about the funding for, it's kind of a same course, I was talking.
Almost, before I forget, you guys always make it packet. The one that asked me about this, I believe it was actually in my son. Yeah. They're- They would like to look at painting this window. And I said, we have to building, it would be willing to put a line. So you guys all, like, see the logo. But, my issue is that I don't know if you didn't go to the tab. That we can find the logo on, you can see where it's actually put, so. I thought was the wall here, but if we do that. With, it's gonna be grand to get that about and we're doing this building. They either have to wait until after we find out when we get put on the grant, we all are working the building, or they do it now. Back to going to see if the district board may be okay with this, with them putting this, with that in front of it. All of them, everything, work out it. It looks like it is. Just to get that start, yeah, the input. And that the public has the input.
Yeah, so if they get it clear, that might be chaos around this area where.
I'm not in heaven, it's a wall, oh,
Yeah, I think the having stations already.
I think, the ordinance is what they talk about.
So you should have that.
Not hold on tight.
Needs to be. That's what it's good. Okay, I'm not saying, I'll get with it, no, that's what it is. So, they're able to. Send them up to the United Station. Actually. All right, yes, any public comment for the family? It's any points.
Any updates inside? We're outside. We're building.
I mean, still, we didn't feel a lot of water. 60. No, we do have an option for, some. So there is he has not officially made his ask yet, but there is a property there, a second area. Securing a telephone that are building all the houses that you're actually railroad currently. They're going to put an offer in to buy that piece of property. The town owns a small strip of property from the edge of the roadway in. I say it's going to be one that's 10 feet wide, 15 feet wide. I'm not out there over this 4 years, I have no idea. Well, I thought the one thing, we thought that the originally that was regional for the what? And we're talking up there, and we don't have a lot of. We don't have to. They like to go to these houses over here, but they want to know if they can sell that street. And so they had not officially taken asked yet. But they got it. We can guys want to do. His offer was that essentially in a new, maybe in lieu of payment for the properties, we just they make the money to do something with that. But I don't know. I don't know. I think he would have to regardless for that. I can't say if you want all of them. How long you? We vacated the house.
I'm sure, but I haven't looked at the white cell.
And I told y'all, if memory serves, don't have to go back to the one of the ways. Sometimes, I'm really, the good, so that you. Yeah, I can't say, I'd have to go back and look at everything.
Oh,
I hope that we can see the problem. But we don't have any problem. Depends what they, I need to, actually. I think the problem you can negotiate is. Yeah, it's on property. What happens?
It's a very odd second.
Yeah,
I believe it's part of the original fact that it goes right across that alley that goes from here up to the gate.
I'll add it to. I'll look it up and talk to the city office.
This one has something.
right. Public comment again. Yeah, comment. Okay. You gotta do about this. Yeah. Okay. The capital improvements plan.
That has to be up to the years. If you do not have a valid plan on file, then stop sending that capital improvement.
So. I'm not gonna go into detail on this, but there could be a resolution by the town council to create the ongoing capital improvement plan. This is the edit act required that any one achieving plan is required to have in place of capital improvement plan. And Tennessee Public System will fund the university over time, and we will also look to help create this plan. We do this plan every 2 years and identify Parallel with the project that it created will improve the ability overall effectiveness of town city building, which include the improvement of recreational areas, promotion of inclusive community activity, promotion of business opportunities, and general improvement of infrastructure.
There's no real changes to the topic. That's a key, what the people are saying, we're sort of working. For example, the last plan mentioned taking the dead trees out of the park for a long time, right away, that's funded. But what we do is some of the, sidewalks.
That's definitely.
On the second, I was in favor, that improvement plan, then. Yeah. I'll make some of the Bob second, all those in favor, Jeremy? Aye. Anybody?
You have a look at this.
That's not one.
Yeah.